Working audio this time would be nice. Let's keep that going. All right. More Kerbal Space Program. And real quick, make sure my chat is actually up. Should anyone join us? So, tonight my goal is to redeem myself from last night's BS. So, that means we need to capture this craft that is now in Kerbin orbit. We did already bring it back from Moon orbit. We did get it into a stable orbit. But we don't have it quite where we want it. Let me see, where is it? Help if I could see where it was. Desvin's craft? Is that what it? Might be Desvin's craft right here. Yep, that would be it. So we're gonna fly that. And we're almost to periapse, which is perfect. So what I wanted to do is circularize this orbit into a lower orbit. Make it just a little easier to rendezvous with it later. So, actually works out pretty good. Just gonna make sure we're controlling this from the actual command pod there, actual probe core. So we are a little off kilter. All right, no need for a maneuver node. Let's just start going for it. I'm not going to go too crazy. I am going to get this to about a 120 or so meter orbit. And when we get to apogee, I will go ahead and raise perigee as well if needed. So just make it a little easier to actually rendezvous with it. If we have too low an orbit, we can't try and catch up if we should launch ahead of it. And our launch window is coming up-ish. So let's go back to the Space Center and start redesigning our capture craft. Which I think I have the basis of it down. I think I remember what I did for the most part. So we want a hex core as our base. Upside down. Control point would be reversed. So we can actually take off with this. Now, I do need a service bay to throw that in. That looks good. Need some fuel. Not going to worry about RCS this time, since we have a loader craft this time around. Alright. Just need some reaction wheel support right there. Some extra batteries. Solar panels. And of course, communicator. And that's really all we need for the actual craft. This is going to be what gets us to rendezvous after orbit. We do need a 2.5 meter shell. Yep, I had that right the first time. There we go. This is providing an aerodynamic cone to the top of the craft. Don't need any retro boosters because this is going to actually be deorbiting. But we do need structural tube. So put a small one on so I can actually plan out the rest of this. Because we do also need some kind of control point on there. We'll use a cheaper core. Actually, I'm forgetting a step. We do need a shield. We need a separator. This time we're going to be careful with the separators and make sure they actually don't get in our way. I did it last time. That's better. Now we need a grabbing unit. And we are going to need some batteries down there. Of course, I made that difficult for myself by putting the grabbing unit down first. There we go, just some batteries. Keep that charged. Now we can go ahead and we can extend this to be a long tube. I don't know if I need it to be that long. I think I do need it to be long. So a long tube. And we need winglets. Put 6 winglets on. This will provide aerodynamic drag to orient this correctly for re-entry. Parachutes, 6 of those as well, which is complete overkill, but we're going to go for overkill that time around. This is, as I saw last time, about a 7-ton vessel, which still then blows my mind why a vessel otherwise not struggling at all to launch 7 tons, for some reason struggling to handle this thing. But now that is going to separate in such a way that it does not stay on there. It's going to stay on the discarded booster, which is what we should have done in the first place. And we're going to put the K-12 on there, since our K-7 did not work, as I mentioned. Alright. I did have the problem on the original of not having separators, or not having separatrons. So actually this is going to be kind of a strange thing to plan out here now. As I was saying, separatrons for the second stage booster to make sure it doesn't stay in orbit. We had to do some craziness last time. Much better. And then for the interest of stability, we need big old wings down bottom. Tail fin should do great. That should give us, yes, a lowered center of aerodynamic pressure. It is still ahead of our center of mass, which is kind of a problem. But I'm just going to trust the gimbaling system on our craft to handle that. We do have pretty good gimbal with this Delta style first stage. first stage will fire. We'll get rid of the boosters. Probably need to get rid of the fairing before we'll need to go to second stage. Second stage will fire. We'll get the engine going on it. Once that's done, we should be in orbit. We don't need separator to open the bay. Deorbit the second stage all in one. Then we activate the engine. Then we can separate, expose the heat shield on re-entry, and then activate the parachutes. This should be, finally, the vessel we need. Any luck, we can actually make it happen. Now, if structural tube isn't hollow, then I don't know what the heck. It's got to be hollow. There's just no way around that. It's got to be. All right, we want to make sure we line ourselves up. We're going to let that craft get just right about here-ish off of us. Just maybe a 10-degree angle off from the center of Kerbin. All right, full throttle. Off we go. So take 3 of the capture vessel here. This is now the 3rd attempt, and to redesign from the ground up to be almost identical. So pretty stable so far, despite the aerodynamic detriment. Good. Means our gimbling system is compensating properly. It's a little closer than I like that to be typically. Alright, now we can start carefully. As I said, a good gimbling system on this rocket, thankfully. Because I am now fighting its urge to tip over while we're turning. While we're turning, it wants to kind of go backwards the other way. With these 2 thud engines down at the bottom, give us really good gimbal control. Makes us a little more expensive than the Bobcat, just barely more thrust, and it is heavier, but control-wise, it's just much better. Trying to get a high, shallow, suborbital trajectory. Might be going too shallow here. Do have a lot of fuel left. Too much. Yeah, we should be alright. K-12 is absolutely milking this stage compared to the other 2 larger versions. The 15-ton and the 18-ton versions. Don't need as much out of that stage because we do have more solid rocket boosters. Very well. going to be a little bit behind this thing, which is what I did not know. Okay, that was actually the perfect cutoff. So we want to go into orbit here with the next stage. We're going to keep riding that other stage for the moment. We want to do that until we completely exit the atmosphere, because this is giving us extra momentum through our arc. If we actually dropped it off, we would see that we would not get the same height we will if we leave it on. We're going to have a 44-second burn. So 22 seconds away, we're going to activate our second stage. Time warp just a little bit. So waiting for 22 seconds out. Switch over to stability assist so I can try and target exactly on point. But we're already ready to stage, so we're going to do that now. Make sure my staging wasn't messed up there. I messed my window a little bit. Not terrible. Might win an award for the ugliest craft I've currently used. Okay, a little bit of correction. Not too bad. I'm going to keep this stage on, since we do have a little bit extra fuel there. Might as well use it. Start doing the rest of our maneuvers to catch up to our target. So I think what I'm going to try and do is a radial alignment. See where it's not going to work. So let's do that here instead at perigee. After our next intersect, we will actually be already naturally catching up to it. Our apogee is higher than it needs to be. So we're actually going to just bring that down. That should give us a 5-kilometer intersect. That's not great. 4.1 still not great. The major difference there is an inclination difference. So we have a 4-degree inclination difference. So we're going to add a maneuver there and correct that as well. I want that to bring down by 4 degrees. Or 0.4 degrees, I should say. Okay, now we can change this one to change our timing just a little better. Still gives us a 4-meter intercept. It means that our altitudes is different. There's our major difference here, which I guess is logical. Yep, our altitude is our major difference. So what we'll need to do, let's do a radial shift there. A little more prograde. And mess up my maneuver node. That's what I needed to do. All right, let's focus. Let's focus on the inclination change first. Which I just thought I was doing wrong, but I actually wasn't. And I just did the wrong maneuver. Okay. Alright, Steve. Time to get serious here. Alright, we'll start with that. I'll try this maneuver one more time. Or actually, what I can do, before we even get there, no, that's gonna get kind of tricky. That is gonna get tricky. So I think my best bet really is just to do that, that tighter path around the curving, lower apogee. And then make whatever necessary adjustments after. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to warp to next maneuver. It's a little bit of time to actually aim and to thrust limit, so we actually can pull this off with a reasonable degree of accuracy. That's fairly on point. Next maneuver, another small maneuver. Time warp to that one. Bingo. A little bit of correction there. Not very much. All right. .9 is our actual intersect. Still have a safe orbit. So now, let's see, at apogee, just a little before. No, I don't want Jebediah. Okay. Don't want the Jebediah station to be my target. Can I please just adjust my orbit? So right here. switching between radial changes and altitude changes. That looks pretty good. Make sure we get the intersect still to time out the way we want it to. We want it to actually be on the same point of the orbit at the same time, but also at a higher orbit than where we were going to be at. So, a couple of maneuvers there just to make that work. We're going to combine them all into one, of course. We got 1 2-second burn. Should be a much easier rendezvous this time. Now that everything's in a fairly circular orbit. Okay. Thrust limit this as well. There we go, make it a 4-second burn. Time warp a little bit. Give us a little bit of time before we get there to correct our position, our thrust vector here, because it's changing quite a bit. Oh, so this ends up being a radial change almost entirely. That's interesting. Oh no, I see. Okay, still sliding a little bit towards prograde. Make sure we aim as accurately as we can. Just a little bit of correction. Okay, actual rendezvous is going to be at 0.2 kilometers. It's really not too bad. So 200 meters. Relative speed difference is going to be 33.9 meters a second. We can thrust limit up to full throttle when that comes around. So what I'll do, full throttle. We'll do retrograde to target. I always forget the thrust values on this thing. One. Oh, that worked out pretty good. Switch ourselves back around the other way. Finish equalizing our speed to target. And station keeping. There we go. Station keeping. We'll switch back to orbit and go prograde. So we can eject this lower stage now that we don't need it. Could have short fueled it. That's all good. It's already been a waste of a mission anyway. Considering this is now the third one of these I launched, plus the helper vehicle. All right. It goes on its way. We're going to go back to target view. We do have to do a little bit of correction. So we need now this to be default control point, because now we're going to be thrusting in the opposite direction. We're going to activate the engine. Let's just cancel that out right there. Perfect. And we're going to get ourselves fairly close to our target. We're going to let the target do the actual loading though, since we don't have any RCS on this now. So we're going to auto-aim retrograde. We're going to try and get nice and close. Really overkill. I didn't need all that extra fuel, actually, for deorbit. But fuel actually isn't that expensive. The expensive part is the actual engines. So if I'm already going to have them, might as well just deal with it. Bringing us in nice and slow. And then we're going to orient ourselves facing the loader vessel, leaving the exposed capture bay. Hopefully to actually capture it this time. Okay. So let's see. Face the open capture bay to the craft. Arm the grabber on the inside. Switch over to this craft here. Orient ourselves facing what can I set as a target? I can set this as a target? Apparently not. Where are we? There we are. Better. Okay, so we want to be aiming like that a little bit, I think. Well, we're going to aim dead on, but we need to RCS our way so this is lined up properly. So now we're going to go over to docking mode. RCS on. I'm not sure which way is up. Okay. So we're going to line ourselves up a little bit that way. A little bit that way. Of course, the sun is setting. That makes that really convenient. All right. Nope. Down still. This is tough because we're going to have to eyeball this because this is not lined up directly to the center. See? This is going to be hard. So where are those thrusters sticking? Make sure we've got this. Okay. Perfectly like that. Okay. Good. No imaginary force field to keep this from loading this time, thankfully. So it's going right in. Try and center it a little better. There we go, capture. Ah, redemption. I don't know why our target value is just like accelerating beyond all reason. But okay, now this guy can release. This can stay in orbit and complete other deorbit cleanup. Not sure how much monoprop it actually has. Quite a bit, actually, yeah. So this will be a good cleanup vessel still. Meanwhile, our rescue vehicle. We now have the captured module almost perfectly dead center. If you'll all allow me to brag for just that moment. And what we want to do, I'm going to try and land this near the Kerbal Space Center. Again, for purely bragging reasons. So we're going to go a little past. Because naturally we're going to slow down in the atmosphere. Okay, and then we got to wait for this to come up into our orbit, because this inevitably will change, as you can see, Kerbin rotating underneath our maneuver node. You have to factor in the rotation of Kerbin when you do these kind of maneuvers. So now we need to shift that maneuver. I'm actually going to try and shift it later even, and put even more deorbit burn in here. More retrograde burn, because I can. And that should actually give us a more accurate trajectory. Also make it a little more survivable by slowing down significantly first. So I think that might be ideal. That might be where I want to be. I'm going to move it just a little more just to handle the rotation of Kerbin. Like I said, there is a little bit you have to factor in that you're going to be slowing down when you hit the atmosphere. But we're going to hit the atmosphere pretty dead on. So it's basically going to just stop us dead, if anything. So that's probably right where we want it. Have a 1 minute 40-second burn. So that means we want to give ourselves 50 seconds away from the maneuver node to start burning. Is that right? Yeah, it is. 50 seconds, wow. So let's auto-aim retrograde quickly. That's retrograde? That's prograde. What are you doing? There we go. I don't know why I was controlling from the pod there. So we missed our window to burn a little bit, but we are going to just start anyway. Just going to burn directly retrograde. So our whole maneuver was retrograde anyway. We're just starting it a little late. We're going to run this all the way to burnout. We're out of fuel, so... Who needs a space shuttle to return stuff from space? We have this contraption. So holding retrograde. KSC is right there. We might be going for a little swim with this thing. Oh, which is actually a good thing, because I forgot to put landing legs on this. I had originally put landing legs on these. Go. We got burnout. So now we need to separate off the deorbit module. That leaves us... Are you kidding me? Really? I screwed that up again. Oh, boy. Now it's too late. We need to aim prograde. Prograde quickly, please. Well, thankfully, if that does burn up and explode, I don't think it's going to take the heat shield with it. So this might be okay. And we did slow down significantly in the first place. So I'm going to hope for the best. Gonna hope for the best. We're gonna fight to keep ourselves aiming prograde, and once we hit the atmosphere, that should be much easier. These wings will be giving us drag at the aft end of the craft, so it should be forcing us in. Heat shield first. We're now hitting the atmosphere. Just a very outreach stretches of the atmosphere. We're actually doing pretty good in terms of landing pretty much right in front of Kerbal Space Center. Returning this piece of debris to Kerbin for our contract. Don't need RCS. There is no RCS on this. Okay, yeah, we are going to overshoot a little more than I was anticipating because we're not heating up for entry yet. There we are. Expected that was going to come a little sooner. So hopefully this little ring being caught on there and me forgetting to put it the other way around doesn't mess us up too bad. Seems to be totally okay. Alright. It was unexpected. I can turn off SAS now because the aerodynamic forces are going to do this, keeping this steady all on their own. Parachutes. Alright. That's one way to complete a contract, I guess. So we'll let that come down. So plenty of electric charge. Here I was worried about that. Should have been worried about not putting an antenna on this darn thing. That didn't click to me. Click for me, I guess. I didn't even pay attention to that. I'm just using the internal antenna. Although we are, 26 kilometers from the center. Hello there. IR pancake. I do like pancakes. So this was a very bizarre contract. This might be the weirdest one I've done in a long time. Trying to recover a piece of debris from space and return it to Kerbin safely. And I think that might have just done it. There's our parachute deployment. We are currently excessive in the parachute department. So I'm going to just cut 2 of these. I expected this to be a little heavier. That's better. We'll time warp this the rest of the way down to the surface. So we don't have to sit here and watch it. Oh, there's the deorbit module splashing down. Now, this won't actually be contract completion. I do actually still have to save the Kerman that was in it. I currently have him on the Moon space station. So I need to figure out how I plan to get him back. I already have a capsule in orbit for him, but I'll figure that out. Do you like planes in Kerbal? I like them. They don't ever work well for me. I find there's some weird anomalies with Kerbal aerodynamics. It was also responsible for killing Valentina in our current career file, so that was unfortunate. That was day 1. All right, and we're about to have our touchdown here. We'll cover that. Now I need to check on our vehicles on their way to Minmus. Our Minmus rover should be getting fairly close. I do want to check though. Yep, so we obtained Desvin's craft. We saved Desvin. We recovered his craft on Kerbin. We did get credit for it. We just need to recover him on Kerbin. And then we'll close out this contract. So I need to figure out how I want to get him back. I mainly build aircraft. Oh. That's actually, that's unusual, I think, in terms of Kerbal Space Program. I think a lot of people struggle with it. So I think if you're good at it, you might have a rare talent there. I think you can see from my research development, I've kind of ignored it. It's the one place I've kind of ignored. I do intend to put a proper space shuttle up, though. Asymmetric launch and all, even though I hate the space shuttle. Just to say I did it. I actually already did it once in this file. I just didn't build a craft that could re-enter properly. Need a little bit of everything. Well, still, I'm going to stick to, if you're good at making aircraft in Kerbal, you might be a rare breed. That might be a real talent. Alright, so our rover rendezvous is still quite a while. We got like 1 day until our rover is actually on its capture. So in the meantime, I'm going to switch to our space stations and collect any science that we might have on them. Which I think I've collected quite a bit recently, so I don't think there's going to be that much. But ooh, spy planes sound fun. Just in general, high-speed aircraft for me have been difficult. Alright, so let's see what I can transfer back out. 31 science actually is not that bad. Let's see how much. Electric charge? Yeah, tons of it. So, transmit science. Replicas as well. I do find myself doing a lot of replicas with rockets. I've kind of got a weird abomination combination of all the Delta 2 and Delta 3s as my medium craft right now. Kind of a Titan 3D is my crew launcher, and a Delta 4 as my heavy launcher. Transmit science. Okay. So just got another 60 science, I think, between the two science bays there. And I do still have our rescued Kerman here. I need to figure out how I'm going to get him back. I could just throw him on the transfer vehicle and bring him on his way, but until disabling a pilot from this at the moment. SR-71 that goes Mach 4.8. Oh, I'd like to see that. I would like to see that. Alright, now we need to focus on Jeb Station. Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like it's quite high. Real SR only goes to 3.5. That's one of those things, though. When I do take clones in here, they do tend to just kind of. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. At least for rockets. There's another 23 science, almost 23 science anyway. So I do have, thankfully, a spare pod up here that can get our stranded Kerman back. I just don't think that's necessary yet. Ah, the A-10 would be nice to see. But F-18, F-22, but A-10. That's a lovable craft. Why does this show like all these engines are active, by the way? That just dawned on me. Oh, I never shut down this one's engines. That would be important. Should do this every time just to make sure I don't accidentally hit a key and start melting components. There's another one we never shut down the engines on. Lord only knows, one wrong key, if I was to hit the Z key, this could end badly. It isn't the plane with built-in gun. It's a gun with a built-in plane. Let's see. Okay, that one's already deactivated. This one would be the new one, so that's the one we need to shut down for sure. Our new version of the capsule now has the new spark engines cut down rather than the really annoying spider engines, which make a lot of noise and don't give a lot of thrust. Should just be a few more engines for me to shut down. Just not privy at the moment to where they are. There we go. There we go. That makes me feel better. Share some pics. I actually don't know if I have that enabled. You can try, and if not, I can mess around with the settings. All right. Now back to Space Center. Okay, so let me see if that's blocking that. Moon memento. Let's see here. Does that even give me the option to not filter that? That might not even give me the option to not filter that. At least not that I'm seeing. see if I can just manually. I don't know. I'll have to figure out how to do that at some point. So right now, I do not see the option. $571. Okay. Science. Sorry. Distracted by science immediately. So 571 means I get to unlock one of my big targets here, which would be way up here, and is mining tech. Now we're talking. Ah, stream chat extended. Can you actually do that? See if I can manipulate it from here. Alright, one sec. Now I'm curious. I want to see if I can do this. So settings. How do I change settings on that? Well, let's do this. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's try making you a moderator of Stream Chat Extended. That should surely give you permission. I would hope. Now, I'm going to play around with some mining equipment. This is going to make me a happy man. Ooh. Okay, good. Yeah, it says any, not both. I was worried there for a second. I thought I was going to need this, which I don't particularly care to have just yet. So, okay. Used a lot of science. But mining equipment has got me very excited. Especially since we're working on Minmus, and Minmus is to be my mining and refueling center if all goes according to plan. So let's see. What do I consider that stuff? That's in utility. So how big are these parts? So this is the larger. Resource converter. We need electric charge. That'll start creating liquid fuel from ore. We could split. Actually, let me go back to the main room as well. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Actually, can I show those on the stream if you're interested? Just 'cause I do like getting conversations going. Now let's see. So this guy says required cooling 200 kilowatts, max cooling 200 kilowatts. So that's all it can do, I guess. Can I overshoot that? Ah, I got a big old yes for that. Technology's failing me. Huh. I don't know why that's giving me 404 over and over. I feel like I'm doing something dumb. It's a neat 404 screen though. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I goofed. Well, let's see. How can I cool this sufficiently? So 200. That can cool quite a bit. Core heat. I don't know what any of this information means. Oh my goodness. 50 kilowatt core heat transfer, I guess? That would be core heat transfer. I don't rightly know how that works at all. Alright, let's just mess around with this for a second. I'm not sure how heavy this thing is. It's probably pretty heavy. Yep. We are going to have to give it its own ore storage. Thermal as well. That should give me that 200 mark, 50 each. So I can just make that look a little better. So really let you put it on the part. I gotta see if I can do something about this as well. That doesn't look quite right. Let's do a tri-adapter maybe? Just merge that down so it looks a little better. Oh, that looks pretty good. Put 3 of those on. Now, tri-adapter. Out as well. This is going to be a very heavy craft, I think. I guess not. Only 6 tons right now. Oh, that's true, because these are launching empty. So I guess that wouldn't be that heavy, would it? Okay. So now the other things we need to worry about. We need to worry about giving this some kind of monoprop. Thought I had maybe the larger. Yes, I do. Okay, there we are. Some monoprop. Let's maybe... We should just put 4 of those there instead. Kind of new to this whole mining thing. This is all very new to me, actually. Double control system medium. Oh, that's beefy looking. I like that. That might work better if I put those up top. Just way overkill on the cooling. Fun fact, this is also how I build computers, way overkill on cooling. There we go. That looks pretty good. We do need some kind of communications on it. Doesn't have to be great because we have a wonderful communication network around all our planetary bodies in the Kerbin part of the system. Now, we need a tiny amount of fuel. I don't know if I want to go with the orange, the black and white. We need a tiny amount of fuel. We need an engine plate. Put a couple Terrier engines on if I do this right. Do quad plus 1. No, those are a little big. It's gonna get in my way. So let's do spark engines. Do those bare. Little more fuel. Can also move these out a little. Rotate them so they look a little better. Just nitpicky aspects of this. Okay. Maybe go with a smaller tank as well. I don't need one that big. Need enough to clear. A docking port on, so this can dock itself to the station. And then we need, let's actually put that off to the side. So we can put some RCS. Kill it at the bottom because we're not going to have a ton of control up top. I'll just be able to give these a little bit of roll control. That's going to go weird. I'm going to regret that probably. Then, let's put an inline stabilizer at the back. That's almost enough to clear anyway. I might just do that and go straight for the docking port. There we are. So 15 tons. A little over 15 tons. Almost 16. This might be the opportunity I wanted to test the 18-ton launcher, although it's probably not actually going to be. Probably going to have to use the 18-ton once I put the fairing on. So let's go for that fairing, speaking of. Simple and ugly. I don't have a core on there. That's problematic. It's usually something you need is a way to control it. I'm getting so excited I'm forgetting basics. Just want to try something new. Use a hex, so it's a little easier. We can add batteries, all that basic stuff that I was supposed to be putting on in the first place, and then also solar panels. These are going to use a lot of power as well. Now this would be about an 18-ton. Yep, 18-ton. Core. We can edit the fairing. Make sure we're not goofing these up. Yeah, a little pointier. Edit that. There we go. Now, 18-ton launcher. Basically a Delta 3. So we need to fire the center engine, 2 thuds, all 8 boosters, and the launch towers. Then we need to drop away the boosters. We need the second stage, separation, and fire. Fairing should probably come up before that. So we have 50,000 meters. Then we'll have the separation here. Main engines. Yeah, I'm going to disable the coupler here. We don't need that. That is not a lot of Delta V. This is not going to get itself to min-miss, that's for sure. I could probably put it on a K-24, do a 24-ton launcher, but it's going to start getting kind of awkward. I'll do it on the K-18 for now. See what happens. I do need to get more equipment off to min-miss, so I might just put together a list of things to all kind of stack together in one go. And use a nuclear powered stage or something to help. Make sure Onostrut's on. There we go, K-18 on the way. So this should test the limits of the launch vehicle. So at least we are getting another vehicle test out of this. I like how they all kind of just cluster. Alright, now start aiming. About 45 degrees. Try and drive a nice shallow but high apogee. A shallow suborbital trajectory, I should say. Let's go a little steeper over. very old engines, but they work very well for this. The Reliant and a pair of Thuds. This works really well for control and stability. Really good, actually. About to hit a safe altitude to drop a fairing. Do that. Start tracking program. Ah, and I didn't put retro boosters on this once again. I hate when I do that. This is how I end up with so much trash in space. Good job of giving us a nice, shallow suborbital trajectory, though. We're already pretty close to apogee, so we're just going to fire. Second stage. Still tracking the apogee. Prograde. Need to go a little nose up, I think. A little more aggressive in an angle of attack here. In front of us. Good. Now we can start to flatten back out. This is an 18-ton launcher. We've got this once again requalified. Alright, good enough. Got on a safe orbit. We still have some fuel on it. Not enough Delta V to try and do a min-miss burn, unless I use the fuel in the actual station part, which might be what I need to do. Well, and then we need to do an inclination correction as well. All right, so let's think of this in reverse then. We'll once again have to manually kill off this second stage. So I keep forgetting to put those Separatrons on. That apparently is my my curse. So I want to set Minus as our target. And I want to set our ascending node burn. also give us a more circular orbit when we do that burn, which is good. So that maneuver is in 10 minutes. It's a 20-second burn, so we want to get about 10 seconds away from the actual maneuver before we initiate the burn. So just enough time to aim to the target. I think I got a good way to get rid of this debris. Corrections. We do have just a little bit more fuel on this. Okay, we're now on the correct inclination. What we're gonna aim retrograde. Gonna bring our periaps just inside of the atmosphere. Do. And we're going to... Okay, Amos prograde. This wouldn't have been necessary if I just put those... Back to a safe orbit. So that little piece will go and burn up, and our nice little module here will be good to go. The only problem is we still need to get this to Minmus, so I'll have to figure out some kind of transfer stage for it. Which I do need a new transfer stage anyway. So that might have to be what I work on next. So let's try... building a transfer vehicle. Ah, it's gonna do this bug again. Okay. Alright. This is becoming very routine. So, let's save the game. Restart Kerbal. That was an annoying bug. I don't know why it does it. I don't know why I need to completely reset Kerbal every time it happens. But, you know, that's just the way things are. Okay. Kerbal. There we go. I gotta send that in to the devs at some point. That I keep getting that repeatedly, the same issue. Oh, fun. So, yes, what I need to do, I need to get a new transfer vehicle built. I don't think I'm going to do another nuclear transfer vehicle. Possibly, maybe. I'll see what I can do. Because the other one just does not have a lot of oomph to it. And unfortunately, we do not have the HA10 anymore because of the change to where it is on the tech tree. I could simulate the one we had going for our original K-15 launcher as an upper stage. Let me see what I can do. Try and be a little bit creative. There we are, vehicle assembly building. So we need a heavy transfer vehicle. So a Poodle, 1.75 tons, 0.5 tons. So 4 of these would be heavier. This would give me 250 thrust and vacuum. That would give me 240. 345 vacuum ISP. 350. So yeah, actually the Poodle would be a better choice than even doing that. So we'll just put a Poodle on. And just give up on that idea. So let's, maybe not that one. Let's do this one. This will be a heavy transfer vehicle already. Just putting that on there. I think that is my most efficient engine at the moment, aside from the atomic rocket motor here. Yay! 355. Actually, the Cheetahs are most efficient. A pair of those would actually probably be a better idea than. Well, let's check our Delta V. 1466 Delta V. Let's change this to vacuum. Okay, 5,702 Delta V. 5702 is my number to beat. And then what happens if we take a pair of Cheetahs? It'd be a little less. However, this opens up a different possibility, I think. Could I do 4 of these? They'd sort of collide. Yeah, let's just stick to the Poodle. So, we just need some very basic things for a transfer vehicle. Very basic. I do need some RCS. One of these Rockomax adapters at the top. We do then need a service bay where we would put core. Some electric charge. Some more electric charge, because why not? Some solar panels. There we go. Docking adapter. Actually, this is a transfer vehicle. Let's use the repackable. So I don't have to worry about those getting in the way of anything. Some RCS nodes. Up here at the top, down here at the bottom. Some more right here, just to balance things out a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way of the hatch. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. I won't worry about it. Let's just not stress that right now. Let's actually put those like that. There we go. There's our solution. And those like that. How heavy is this right now? 24 tons. Okay, so this is going to go on a K24. That's going to go on a K24. Is that everything we need? Monoprop, check. Battery, check. Source of power, check. Don't have an antenna. We can settle with a cheapo. Since we're only going between relay networks anyway. Bring our weight down a little bit. You know what? No. I don't need to worry about that. And I don't need to worry about this, actually, if I'm doing this properly. Here's what I'm going to do. Make this a larger vessel out of this. We need a fairing. Okay. Protective fairing at the top. We need our K24. Whatever I did with it. There we go. Okay, that might be a little excessive. I was going to say I could keep the next stage up, but yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Never mind. Where are we? There we go. So how heavy does this end up being? 24.75 tons. So I'm going to drain this a little bit. Wow, okay, that adds up fast. 23.15. Okay, so we'll leave that a little short fueled. And then if we have any leftover fuel in this stage, we'll go ahead and transfer it over before it deorbits itself. Finally, the thing that I always forget, because they are payload specific. Separatrons. Okay, so K24. Needs the solids to fire along with the main engine, along with the tower separation. And then it needs to separate out to the second stage. Okay. And when we're finally ready to go on to the actual craft, we'll separate off that second stage and deorbit it. This can happen probably pretty early on. And then these need to be down here as well. Okay. K-24. Basically a Delta 4 medium. Let's see if we can time it and have it meet up with that ore facility that's currently in orbit as well. That refinery. That would be our guy right there. No, we're not going to be even on the right right orbital plane here because it already did its inclination adjustment. So, launch it just close-ish and then go from there. All right. Our heavy launcher on its way. This is our heaviest rocket launcher. Or rocket, not rocket launcher, but it is a launcher that is made of rockets, so I guess it isn't improper, which is not the way you'd explain it. It's our most powerful rocket, it's our most powerful launcher. There we go. That's what my brain was trying to do. Call out the two things it is. So drive a nice, high, shallow, suborbital trajectory with this main engine. Perfect. Start getting this poodle working. We can then drop the fairing since we're now high enough. And this poodle has a lot of work to do, so I'm just going to leave it to go exactly horizontal at the moment. Try to get our horizontal speed up as quickly as possible. And then start monitoring. Yeah, it needs to basically just go in aim prograde, because we are approaching our apogee a little too quickly. Still a little quickly. So stability assist will aim pitch up a little bit. Pitch up a little more. That should do. Wait for this to start getting driven out in front of us for us to start pitching down again. Looks like that's starting to happen now. Yep. So we can pitch down a little more. Pitch down a little more. Okay, now we're getting there. Let's pitch down way down. It's aim pro grade. Looking pretty good. Should be enough time to get us to orbital velocity. Stability assist, just keep it pitched up just a little, just to be safe. Yeah, there we go. Wow. Of course, when I remember the retrofire boosters is when we don't need them. It is typically how that works. I'm going to do something kind of cheaty. And if this ends up putting it into orbit, I'm going to be mad. But, you know, whatever. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Ah, just shy of orbit. Perfect. Alright, so at least I used them. Some way to deal with that situation. Whoop. Why are you pitching down? I'll tell you to pitch down. Oh, because you're trying to go retrograde. Gotcha. Gotcha. Extend some solar panels. Now all we need to do ourselves out of the way of our tank here. Accelerate just a little more. And there we go. We're on a safe orbit. That wasn't too bad. Now, we need to get in line with our target here. To get our ascending node figured out first. So let's go ahead and take care of that. How's our rover doing? It's still got a while. Alright, so in 6 minutes we got a 20-second burn. Oh, there we go. The stage now has a ton of delta V. This should be more than enough to get us to Minmus once we do our rendezvous. This may well get reused as a transfer vehicle for a while. At least for moon transfers between Kerbin and Mun and Minmus. Since I need more thrust than the nuclear engines are offering. even a cluster of them. Those are going to be more for interplanetary travel. It'd be nice to have my AJ-10s back, though. Which I guess I could use one of the tanks that's already on board Jebediah Kerman Station as a transfer vehicle, since they already do have AJ-10s on them. That might actually be something I look into. For the moment, this seems like a pretty good option. A little bit of correction. Okay. Now, target position intersects, it's way in front of us. So what we need to do is lower our orbit. So we're going to have to go retrograde. Tracking our periaps, making sure it stays above a safe altitude. Okay. So within 2 orbits or so, that should get us pretty much on point. I can go ahead and lower our apogee once I get to periaps. Make that a little smoother. Let's just see how this pans out for a second. Keeping in mind our rover's getting close to Minmus. You seem to have about the same orbital period, so that's kind of a problem. So once we get here to periaps, start lowering our apogee. Some radial change just to give us a little more favor to raising our periaps. Okay. Let's do a little bit more retrograde burn without messing us up too bad. Okay. That should get us catching up. Just watching our rover. Get sure that doesn't get into a Minmus sphere of influence while I'm not paying attention. So once we pass this closest point of intersect. Yeah, there we go. We get pretty close here. Target will still be a little ahead of us. But that looks pretty good. So what we want to do now start raising our altitude so it comes a little closer to its altitude. And we want to start making a radial change. There we go. Is our point one intersect? That would drive our periaps into the atmosphere, though. That's a problem. Just barely into the atmosphere, though. Okay. So we've got to be lower than it. So let's just set it up for one more pass then. So we'll set this up to get to the same altitude. I'll worry about that first. We'll let ourselves orbit one more time so we'll be not overshooting our target. Oh, that's way more than I intended the thrust limit that. Oh, not 10 seconds. There we go. 4-second burns are easy to time. Okay, let's time warp to our maneuver. Almost there. Again, just making sure. I am quite paranoid about that rover. Alright, so 2 seconds from our maneuver node, we're going to start burning. I'll center our burn across it. Okay, very good. A little bit of correction. Okay. Not bad. Now we have to wait one more orbit. Okay, that's where we overtake it on this next orbit now. Okay, so that's where we really overtake it. That is like not by very much. So let's add a maneuver here to increase our apogee. Perfect. That's what I was looking to do. Now this is coming up quickly, so I need to quickly adjust to this. This will give us a 300-meter intersect. So that is exactly what we want. We can thrust limit this down just a little more so it's easier to time it. And once again, 2 seconds away from our Maneuver node, we're going to start burning. There we go. Pretty dead on. I don't think I need to do the correction burn on that one. Yep, 0.0, so we actually are more accurate as a result, somehow. Alright. So another orbit while we come around to that intersect. Almost dangerously close intersect. What's our relative speed going to be? 32.8. Okay. It's not bad. An eye on our rover. I am going to be happy to have a moon rover, or a Minmus rover, when that finally comes around. That's going to be kind of cool. I haven't put a rover on anything in a long time. So I think my 2014 season was the last time I did that. But okay, now we're aiming relative to target. We can aim retrograde to target. We can crank our engine thrust limiter. I'm going to set a maneuver node just to know where our closest point of intersect is going to be. Right there. And I'm going to give us maybe 2 seconds to pull off this burn. 2-second window, so I might have to oddball it and just see as we are rapidly approaching. Let's just make sure I don't do anything stupid. So eyeballing it sounds like a good idea. 600 meters. 500 meters. 400 meters. Actually, it's looking pretty close to what I was guessing. Yep. Pretty close to what I was guessing. So we're going to just do a little bit of a burn to station keep. Cool. And we can go ahead, we can aim up at the target. The same with the craft here. I just need to change the core to read reversed. All right, docking mode, RCS on. Let's go. Let's go for the dock. Oh. Okay, I changed one craft for rotation and it changed them both for rotation. That's annoying. It should be craft dependent. That's kind of frustrating. So just because I want to control one craft in rotational mode doesn't mean I want to control both of them in rotational mode. They're fairly well lined up now, though. I do want to leave some monoprop on this thing. Oh, it's got a ton of monoprop. Never mind. We're good. I want to make sure it can dock itself to Minmus Station. There we go. Flawless docking. Now we need to disable its engines here. Okay. Very good. We're going to control it from here. So prograde is actually prograde. All right. Ready to rock and roll. This is now a 36, almost 37 ton monstrosity that we're going to be getting off to Minmus. And we're going to need to start that burn, I think, relatively late here. It's going to be almost a whole other orbit, if I'm correct. That would be escape trajectory. We don't want escape trajectory. Escape trajectory is not what we're looking for. Now that's cool and all. We got intersect. I think we can do more efficient, possibly. Yeah, right there. And then we could do a little less. Perfect. That'd be our most efficient by the looks of it. It's going to be a 1 minute 6 second burn. Ouch. Let's watch our rover. Excited for the rover to make it to Minmus. We've already got a relay network there. We've already got the first piece of our station there. We've also got the survey scanner on the way. Why is that? Aha. Okay. So we want to give ourselves about 33 seconds before our maneuver node to actually start burning. Which I just overshot, but we'll live. So the other thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to get some landers set up for Minmus that will have mining drills on them and a way to carry ore back to the surface. Minmus, thankfully, very light gravity. Much lighter than the moon's gravity. So should make an ideal refueling point for an interplanetary vessel. We'll keep using chemical rockets for landings and takeoffs. But we're going to start having more reusable vehicles here, which is pretty good. Just our Kerbin launchers will be throwaways, if all goes according to plan. We might have to have some throwaway Duna launchers and Eve launchers that we land and then only use once. think I stayed pretty well on course for that, actually. It's pretty good. A little bit of course correction. Just a tiny bit. Yep, we got our intersect, so it looks really good over there. 7 days away. Alright, so that's a nice, another piece of the station on the way. Let's see, how far is our rover? Let's just get this out of the way. Let's get this rover at least captured in the Minmus orbit before I cut stream for the night. Okay, 41 minutes there. Wow, almost 4 hours still. Okay. Time warp a little bit. I forgot to do our burn on our probe over there. So we missed our opportunity there. I was supposed to do that. That's all right. It'll come back around. See what our maneuver is going to look like for capture. Oop, that was a little much. Yeah, there we go. So 22-second burn for our capture, which is going to be facing retrograde. I don't know why that slowed my... There we go. Time warp the rest of the way once I position this properly. It's also out of radio contact. That's kind of a problem. Did I not put any good antennas on this? I put 2. I put 2. I'm awfully close to my relay network from Minmus, so I don't understand what the problem is there. Let's see. What is the problem? Why would you not be able to see the relays? Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Are we out of power, maybe? Ah, yep. Forgot the solar panels typically need to face the sun. Well, that's going to be doomed for the rover, it looks like. I don't think this thing stands much of a chance. I don't think I saved the design, so I might have to just remake that as well. Suppose it's going to have mercy and give me just a little bit of charge, maybe? Let's set that to... I can't even set it to hibernate. Yeah, it's not producing any electric charge. That is problematic. Because I think this is set up for a free return and burn up around Kerbin. I guess I could get lucky if this is a long enough capture burn. What the heck is going on here? Oh, I see. Okay, yep. Confused. If this is a long enough burn, I guess we could get... No, we couldn't get lucky. We won't have enough rotation to be able to see the sun. So we're just going to time warp. Just going to go back onto a Kerbin encounter. Perigee is 93. Okay, it's a safe perigee. Hmm. This is going to be interesting. Well, okay, that might be where I call it a night then. That's no fun. Just a dying rover. Pulling some NASA level stuff here. Killing rovers. Now, on the flip side of that, I didn't really necessarily need the rover before the survey scanner, which is on the way already, so it's not too bad. Wish I had a capture drone out there. But okay, yeah, I guess this is where I'll call it for a night with our derpy doomed rover. Just kind of derping. And with that, thanks everyone for joining in, who joined in tonight. If you want to see more, down at the bottom there, youtube.com/dudeicalledyou where I got all the previous streams. And we stream pretty much every night at 7. I think tomorrow might be an exception, though. So that's where to find us here on Twitch if you want to see our next one instead. So thanks everyone for joining in if you joined in, and have a good night.